Hey everyone, how is it going? Hopefully you're having a great Friday and that or Saturday depending on where you are. And that you enjoyed some of the Diamond League activity today. We are at the official end of the track and field season. Diamond League final today, day 1 in Brussels. Not the greatest of conditions if you want to have stellar performances. We got some, but we must recognize that the conditions weren't all that great, especially for high quality running. Also, it's the end of the season, so we're looking at athletes who are just basically trying to wrap it up and get ready in time for the future, right? In terms of thinking about next year and beyond and what that might mean. Thank you for joining me. I'm here just to make sure we touch on some of the interesting events. I haven't done a live on, I guess, on since we did the last live, which was what was it, Zurich or something like that. But yeah, I was intrigued by some of the things that I saw. I watched a few of the events and I was happy. Well, I watched everything rather instead of a few events. But importantly, this is an interesting Diamond League final. One, I guess we can talk about the notable absences in terms of. So, Brian, how you doing, man? How's it going? Hopefully, you're doing well. Hopefully, you got a chance to watch some of the stuff today. I did watch. Tomorrow, I try to come and do a watch along. Interesting kind of a Diamond League. No Grant Holloway. That's the first thing I wanted to talk about. And you haven't seen any of the races, then maybe I'm gonna spoil it for you or so. Interesting stuff. I nothing out of the ordinary. Good running from Ackeem Blake. I thought, especially to win that. I'll touch on him in a second. The idea that you securing a place in the final next in the World Championships finals next year in Tokyo, you want to do that. That was good for him. A couple of athletes going through some stuff. Yeah, and so we'll get to some of that in particular. I also thought the idea that no Grant Holloway, I didn't like it. If I'm being honest with you, I thought they should have figured out a way to at least uh, get Holloway there. They couldn't figure out the whole thing, and that for me is interesting. Why is it the case that such an important athlete like that they can't figure out the payment structure, which in many ways speaks to him as well, wanting to ensure that he gets the proper compensation. But that's interesting. I suspect if he hadn't had the buy going into the World Championships next year, he may have competed. I don't know. That's a little bit for me to say. Yeah, yeah. No, it's true. It's tough to continue to do stuff after the Olympics. If I'm being honest with you, it's one of those things where in a major championship year, it tends to be the case where it's just a struggle fest. I think you end up in a situation where athletes want to compete, but it's not often easy. The athletes that compete to the end sometimes are athletes who may have not necessarily given up their best or think they haven't done their best or they need to make some earnings. And there's things on available at a Diamond League final which the way in which they instituted this some years ago was pretty good to sustain the sport and the interest long into September. It is after all a September. And the truth is, if they didn't have this kind of Diamond League buy, I don't really know if you would be getting athletes showing up for the Diamond League in the way that we are seeing right now. But yeah. But the Grant Holloway thing, before I get into some of the results, I was disappointed by that. We saw also a late withdrawal from what's his name, the American 200-meter runner there, Errand Knighton. Is not there either. So interesting stuff there. You'd think he would probably want to be there. So maybe something really came up, especially if you want to secure a spot there. But the interesting thing is the Sydney McLaughlin. We saw Sydney McLaughlin at the Diamond League final here. I put up the results on the screen. And she winning that special invitational race, McLaughlin there running a 49:11, outrageous running from her, would have won the Diamond League final. Obviously, Paulina won that in 49.4, and we'll talk about her as well. I'm not saying that McLaughlin would have beaten Paulina. It would be a different race for sure. But to run that fast, especially in the conditions, I was just looking at it again, exceptional running from Sydney McLaughlin. And, I thought they felt like she could have been in a Diamond League final race until someone probably looked at the rules again and they realized that wasn't going to happen. Running that in a long tights, 49:11 ahead of Williams from Jamaica, 50:53, and Mikolas and McPherson there, 51:16 and 51:24. What can we say about Sydney? I think we've now come to the point where we know that Sydney McLaughlin is looking for the next step. I think she's looking towards, dominating on another event. Maybe we've seen the last of her over 400-meter hurdles, probably. She's done enough. She's set the world record so far that it's inconceivable that anyone will break it anytime soon. As good as Femke Bol is, I don't think she can ever. She's in that kind of capacity to approach those times. Maybe at her best, she probably can give us a 50.7. I don't know if she can go anything faster than that. And Sydney has tremendous titles at the Olympic Games. Probably you would say a couple more World Championship medals would have sealed it, but it's at a stage where it probably won't be any of a motivation for her anymore. And we'll probably finally see a full assault on the 400 meters. Who knows? She could potentially do a 2-4 next year. I think that would be an interesting kind of mix for her. We've seen her over 200 meters. A full-fledged sprinter like her give us a 2-4 moment could certainly excite the track and field enthusiast. Hopefully she would run a lot more next season. That's part of what I'm thinking there. Brian is saying, hi, everyone. Thank you for coming through. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Knighton has to go back to the drawing board. Yeah, I think this season is interesting. So obviously, Errand Knighton is still not fully cleared. And he's cleared, but there's court for arbitration for sport that will come into play. Don't know if that will be in any particular direction where he may end up serving some kind of a ban, but for now he's free to run. I don't know how to kind of think through Knighton fully, only to say that he's lost an interesting season. So he's run. We didn't see him until the U.S. National Championships when he got that clearance to run after the contaminated beef fiasco. And then he's back running. So you would think that season would be one where maybe his head is not in the place where you anticipate it to be. Now, if everything works well and he is successful in the sense that CAS rules in his favor whenever that case gets to there, I haven't checked to see when it's going to be adjudicated, then you'd think he would have a good rest, come back, and this year, going into next year rather, would be his moment. That's the time where you would say Knighton has now gone to the Olympic Games twice. Finished fourth twice. He's gone to major championships. And whatever you would want to think about him working out the kinks, the disappointments, learning the sport at the highest level, those days are particularly, for me, over. I am not seeing it anymore. He has to now start to deliver. He has to get to a space where we treat him in a manner where we anticipate him trying to go for the medals, trying to push beyond the times he's been running. I don't know if he can get up to that point. I think the 200-meter space may now belong to Aletsile Tebogo. But Knighton certainly should be in the mix of athletes who can push Tebogo or push himself to achieve the kind of greatness we thought he would have been delivering. So I don't know. Maybe he's tapped out, but we'll see. Brian is also saying McLaughlin has to go 400 meters. No, nothing to prove in the hurdles. No, uh, no, other than sub 50. And I don't think the public is that bothered about the milestone more than her 400-meter exploits. I agree with you. I think for the most part, all in the game, and I'll get to you in a second. You've been missing, man. I haven't seen you since the Olympics. I will say that McLaughlin, I agree with you in parts there for sure, Brian. I think only track and field enthusiasts really want to see a sub 50. Most people in the sport don't even understand it. And for the life of me, I don't want to be critical of Sydney because I always think that when I go down this road, I'm a bit critical. I think Sydney's in such a position that she should be one of the chief flag bearers of the sport, like transcending, right? She has all the tools for that. And just that doesn't run enough for me, right? You want to see your superstars constantly competing, right? And I know things happen. I know it's a Bobby Kersey thing as well, but maybe her switching to a more mainstream event, if you want to think about it, outside of track and field. I'm not denigrating any event because I love them all. That might push the narrative. Maybe people start to think about it differently. But yeah, 400. I think Sydney could definitely run a 4.2. I think the space is there for her to do that. Will she win the 200 meters? I don't know, but 400 certainly is a space. It's much more competitive space with a number of athletes capable of a sub 49, and we think we're going to get more. Your Rashidat Adelikes will come along. I think Price, all of these athletes will be there. So it is a much more competitive space. So if she gets into that space, I don't think we automatically crown her, but she should be there. Is it over for Shawnee Miller-Weber? Like the 400 space is an interesting one. I want to get to it. Let me get to some more. Let me see what else you're saying. Yeah, so I agree that she should definitely get to that flat 4. I would love to see her doubling. That would be impressive. All in the game. What's going on? We'll keep saying ex Grant, Grace Stark, and Jasmine Moore. Most of Mike Holloway's pro athletes have underperformed for a while now. Fanbule, Diggs, Patterson, Dendy, Knighton to a degree, and many more. Yeah, that's interesting. I know you said it a couple of times. I don't know. I think for a guy like, oh, you mean with the exception of Grant? Obviously, Grant out there. I would say I agree. Maybe Grace should have more promise, but I don't know if I want to. I think Grace is in a particular space where oh, sorry, I'm just seeing what you're saying. Except Grace found on Jasmine Moore. Sorry, I'm reading this incorrectly. So you're right there. Yeah, the rest of his athletes are troubling. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they have to make a move at some point. You have to think through that. I don't know if it's a situation where he doesn't have the time. Look, Coach Flo managed to get all these athletes moving, and it's still interesting, right? The way he does it. So, yeah, I think you're right. It could be a case for freshening up. The Knighton thing is interesting. I'll give him a pass this year, assuming that everything is above board. Then next year should be the year where he should step up. He should start to be consistently running 19.5s if he's gonna live up to his potential, but I don't really know. We'll see. Be I strong. Knighton should medal at the next Olympics unless the drugs were. Hey, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm very skeptical of the meat stuff. It's always one of those things. Athletes sometimes win it, sometimes they don't. It's a long thing. There's some really good studies on this and good people writing on this stuff. Maybe I should get on it. I just haven't gotten the time. I was surprised he won it, but we've seen others don't win those cases. But I will see what the Court for Arbitration for Sport says. All in the game. Sid is personally bothered about running sub 4, according to one of her interviews. But anyone else wants her and Femke in the flat 4 versus Paulina and the rest. Yeah, if she How old is Sydney now? Is she 26? 20? I don't. I have to check again. Uh, I think 400 is where it's at though, for real, all in the game. I think that's where it is. I think she can set herself up there nicely. I think she just turned 25. Yeah, thanks. So she has a really interesting space to go. I would say the 400 should treat her well for a number of years. Were she to try the 200 is a different story. I don't know what it will take on her. She's been around for a while. We must remember also that she's been running at the elite level since what, 16? Was it 16 she made her first major team or something like that? That doesn't mean it will impact her in any way, but she also runs sparingly, so she seems to be in good shape. Yeah, I'd love to see her in the 400 meters relatively soon before Paulino and the rest decides to go in different direction. And yeah, we'll see. But I think she's there. Michelle, how are you doing? Good night to you as well. Uh NY Saber says, can Sydney challenge a fit Sharika? We'll see. Uh well, we won't see that tomorrow, but the uh, is there something I don't know about? Yeah, the Sydney. I didn't see the lineup for the 200 invitation. Now you're making me look at that. Let me go check that really quickly. Uh, what is the 200 invitation like tomorrow? Am I missing uh something there? Actually didn't even look at the the invitational lineup. Let's see what it is. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's just Sydney McLaughlin, Bas Bataille. Okay. Okay. When you said can Sydney challenger Fitch Sharika, I was thinking she was there, and I was like, what? Did we miss the news? But no, she's not there. I don't know. We'll see what Sharika Jackson comes back with that when she gets back healthy for sure. Uh Dina, how are you doing? Is Sharika running? I thought she closed her season out. Exactly. I just checked that she is. Yeah, thanks again, all the game. Sydney turned 25. Brian is saying Fambule, Diggs, and Knighton for sure. They have gone nowhere in the last 2 years. I agree. Michelle, what place did Sha'carri place? She placed eighth, I believe. Let's just go right ahead and talk about the women's 100 meters and give all the flowers again to Julian Alfred. That was some race. I want to talk about that for a number of reasons because it gets me back on my Dina Asher Smith rant all the time. But this is the result of the women's 100 Asher Smith running 10:92, Talu 11:05, Daryl Nita 11:14. And yeah, I think down at the bottom there, you see both Davis and Sha'carri Richardson. The Richardson finish was interesting to me. Didn't get out well at all. If we just want to talk about Sha'carri, I don't know if she felt something, if it was a cold thing. She did look good in the last Diamond League final when she beat Alfred. So I'm not sure if she felt something or it just figured that once she wasn't going to challenge for a place, she just went through the motions there. Don't know, to be honest with you, but the impressive thing is this is the Olympic champion ending as the Diamond League champion as well. Special moment for Julian Alfred. As many know, when she gets home, there'll be a Julian Alfred day there in St. Lucia. But fantastic running from her. Uh, at the end, a little bit sloppy, but I don't know if we can even be particularly looking at the race here again. I don't know if we can be even. She came out really well here, powering through, already caught up Dean Asher Smith, who was running really good. Asher Smith tried to hang with her. There's the dipping look a little bit weird from Alfred, but there's nothing really to be critical at the end of the season. She doesn't really need a Diamond League title, if we're being honest, because she's from St. Lucia. It's not like it's going to matter in terms of her team next year. But for good measure, it comes with money, and it obviously comes with it's a title that you want to collect. I like what I'm seeing from Dean Asher Smith. I'll be honest with you. I think next year, another year with Coach Flo, we'll finally get to see full potential of Dean Asher Smith. I don't know if that guarantees her anywhere on any podiums, but I'd like to see a Dean Asher Smith running. That would be an interesting improvement for me if she can get to those places. And if she can definitely get back into the 21.8s or better there in 200 meters, then she puts herself in a really unique position for challenging for medal places again. And that would potentially end what would be, the last few, whenever she decides to hang up the spikes. But I think that's where Dean Asher Smith is. I think I like what I've seen the last few races at the Diamond League stages, and she's in a great training group there, and I think she'll be doing well. But Alfred, top class, nothing we can say. She's there. All in the game answering this. Dina second to last. Where am I here? BI Strong saying 7th or 8. It was 8th, I think. Yeah. Dina says Sha'carri got smoked by Alfred again. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm trying to let me look at the race again just to see like if I could visually see anything that suggests. So Sha'carri didn't come out well at all. She was way behind. But both Asher Smith and Alfred got much better starts, but wasn't pumping away. Yeah, she kind of slowed down just at the last stages there, but I don't know what to say about Richardson there. Something there. Yeah. Oh, NY said no. I mean, how would us fit Sydney tomorrow? Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. No. Yeah, I think if she ran 49.11 today. I don't know how much that took out of the body. She was really pumping. Conditions weren't great. I haven't checked the weather conditions for Brussels tomorrow. If it's good conditions, I anticipate her running something like a 22 low. Maybe sub 21 if she can get to it, but sub 22, sorry, if she can do it. But I don't know. I don't know if she will. Yeah, we'll see. All in the game is that Julian for winning World Indoors Olympic Diamond League finals in the same year. First time it's ever been done. Julian, Dina, Rashidat next year with even more time on the coach floor will be great. No, 100% second that. Yeah, forgot about the World Indoors again. We shouldn't forget about that. I just like everything I see from Alfred. I don't know where the ceiling is for Julian is. Can she get into the low 10-6? I think that's the next stage for her. I think she definitely can give you a good 1068, 1067 there, potentially good conditions. But if she live in that space, that would be good to see. Physically, she's in great shape. A lot more to come, I would say, also in the 200 meters. If she can find a liking for that too, that would be a great place for her. Sky's the limit though, right? Rashidat ending the season not the best way you would think, but I slightly thought she could have made it on the podium in Paris. Didn't happen. Very young. I think her upside is great too. Great ability from 1 to 4. I would love to see her in 2-4. I don't know if she can play around in the 100 meters, but you just never know what kind of decision athletes want to make. But she's special there. But Coach Flo has a good crop of women that ultimately could really find themselves on medal podiums for years to come. So we'll see. All in the game will be baffling if Sha'carri continues to show no interest in doing an indoor season next year. That's true. I think for Richardson, she has to fix the first part of the race. This one, she looks really bad. I'm looking at it again here. The hips, she looks tight. There's nothing there. Maybe she was feeling something. Maybe it's the conditions. But she's losing all these races early, and you can't continue to do that. If you'll get left behind. Others are coming. I would imagine, but she's still in a phase where she's young enough to be on medal podiums. But if she runs the way she runs like this, she won't beat Alfred. And yeah, so there's some things she has, at least not at the big ones, right? Where it matters. All right. Dina says, as I said, whenever Sha'carri is in a race with someone on her level, she always loses, and especially when the race is important, the only way she can win is if she is all the way in lane 9. Yeah, you've been saying this for a while, and we've looked at it in some detail. I don't think you're wrong on this, Dina. I think there is something to be said about the way she runs. So usually in the middle, people talk about she could get choked up a little bit. I don't know if choke up is a big word, is the right word, but yeah. I mean, she did win the last Diamond League. I guess you put more emphasis on the Diamond League final than in Zurich, if we're doing it by order of ranking. However, yeah, she's had a couple races where she's beaten Alfred this season, so it's not. It's really hard to critique it, to be honest with you. I will say that clearly she's not won the big title, which only one person did, and if this is another title to be had, then she didn't win it. It doesn't matter to her in terms of winning it. I would say in terms of making sure she secures a spot next year, she has the automatic buy into the Olympic game, into the World Championships in Tokyo. But I think I see what you're saying. Yeah. Michelle says Sha'carri could beat anyone when she's in good spirit. No, I think I agree with you on that. The women's sprinting, especially at the top level, is open, right? In the sense that it's not open, but on any given day now, let's say Sharika Jackson was to get back to her 10-6 form, and we hope she can. Then you would say Sharika, Sha'carri, Alfred. On a day, they could beat each other, right? That's the good thing about the competitive nature there, but we'll see. Yeah. Dean is responding to all in the game. Yeah, Brian is here again. Thanks for coming with the comments, guys. We'll get to some more results. I want to make sure I get everybody's comments. Not being critical, but Alfred and Tebogo has the two worst dips in athletics. It's actually comical, and I love Alfred. Yeah, she doesn't dip well. Tebogo, there's a lot of stuff with Let's Sealy that's needs a lot of work. He's younger. What is he? 20? Well, they're brown. She's older than him, but not by much. Yeah, let's see. It seems to be in a good setup. I don't want to make comments on what his setup should be, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff he has to work on if he's gonna certainly if he's gonna be competitive over 100 meters. He is competitive, but certainly if he's gonna try to make sure that he wins a 100-meter title. I don't know if he should run 100 meters. I still say he should run 2:4. You look at Let's See Tobago, and I see Michael Johnson 2.0, probably better if he can do it right. Doesn't run the curve well in the 200 meters. There's some issues there. So there's a lot. Yeah, it doesn't dip well, obviously, but a lot to work with. A big base there for endurance and sprint, speed endurance, and so on. If he's the one to threaten the boat world record, then there's a lot of work that you have to do to even approach the 1926 from Johan. I think obviously the next stage for Let's See in terms of times would be to go for the 19.3 time there, then probably try to see if he can go sub 19.3. If he's looking at that as benchmarks, I'm not saying he should. I think what you start to do is to think about the titles. However, there's a cap on his speed. I think he's fast, but he's not quick enough. So he has to work on a lot more detail if he's gonna approach trying to break those world records. The 200-meter world record, but I don't know if he can. Let me get back to some comments here. Dina says, no way she she's yet to beat a Fitty Lane and Shelley. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we'll see. Let's hope. Fingers crossed we get back Elaine Thompson next year. I see, but I don't know what we'll get. Will we see Shelley and Fraser Price again? I don't know. Yeah. Should say poorest dip, not worse, as it should. It sounds critical. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's probably another way of putting it. It's the weaker part of the race for sure. Yeah, more work should come. Nevada says, "Do you think Adidas should move Knighton to Pure Athletics, Lance Brown training camp? He has a lot of success with 200 sprinters. Tyson Gay, Noah Lyles, just a name. Veronica Campbell Brown can be in the mix too." That's a tough call to make there. Also, just moving doesn't mean our guaranteed success, right? Lance has Noah to deal with, right? When athletes, I don't know the personality of the athlete. I don't know what kind of work they want. Attention. Sometimes they seek a lot of attention, and they may not be able to work in certain camps. Those are good questions. I mean, Lance is a top class coach. If you were to go there, I suspect he would be fine. Whether he needs to move to there, I don't know. Seemingly, some might think he should leave the current setup. But leaving is not easy, right? You got to uproot yourself in some way, you change your patterns. That comes down to when the athlete finally decides, I guess, in consultation with their handlers and advisors, that to get the best out of whatever career I can do, I might necessitate a change. To just say Adidas should do it is, I don't think it works that way, right? Yeah, it has to work the other way around. If they're pushing it, then I would worry about that relationship. I'm not saying that sponsors don't have input, but their input should be largely, you know, performance based, in the sense that they can force you to improve. So the natural endpoint is that if you're not improving or performing well and you're not getting the bonuses and so on, then maybe leaving might be a good idea, finding a different setup. But I don't know. Hi Debbie, how are you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. Can't even keep up with these comments, but I'll try. All in the game is saying Brittany Brown, who has been unbeaten 200 record versus Sha'carri, should fancy her chances in the 200 meters final tomorrow. I would say so. If I'm Brittany Brown, you want to win that. Brittany Brown, if most of you on here would follow track and field, so you know this, but had a lot of promise, then didn't work out, and then she's back. I like to see those storylines, and it worked out really well for Brittany Brown. And I think you don't want to give up that position. I would say if you can win that 200 meters, you try and win it. You guarantee a spot next year at the World Championships, because the US team is hard to make. There are questions about, will Abby Steiner come back ready? Do we know that? So you don't want to get an opportunity. And I would say the same for Sha'carri too. Looked like she wanted to go to the Olympics and run the double, and it didn't work out for her. Didn't make the team at the US National Championships. So for her, she should try and win it tomorrow as well. So it could, now that you're making me think about this, which is really wild, maybe her backing off in that race today suggests that maybe she would be conserving the energy in order to see if she can win that 200-meter final tomorrow. I don't know. Dina says Tebogo's dip is not a major problem. It's the curve. He needs to get the curve right. Yeah, he certainly needs to get the curve right. I think in the 100 meters, if we were to put it on a 100-meter pathway, I think he gets out really well. I like the first phase. Most of the time, it's good. I think it's that the lift sometimes is off. Sometimes he's not lifting. Sometimes the arm movements are kind of inefficient, but that they can work on. I think the 100 meters is super technical. He has to work on it if he really wants to be dropping the times and not be hit and miss there. 200 meters, he has a lot of time to make up. I look back at the last 200 meters where he beat Kung Fu Kenny, who ran his personal best. And he beat him in a just like a distasteful way, I would say. Like, I don't think Kenny feels that way, but it was just like the dude just arrived and I'm like, I'm gonna win this, I'm not losing it. And he just wins it in the end, but he was so comfortable in a poor race. Right. I know he ran over the weekend, obviously, at a non-diamond league meet, but that, but I meant the last diamond league race. But yeah, I don't know. All right. All in the game. If I'm Knighton, I'll give it one more year with my colorway, then look to move elsewhere if there's no significant movement. I'm in agreement with that. I think this season is a season that Aaron should write off, because the moment that he tested, or the moment he returned an adverse analytic finding, to keep it however they want us to keep it, is the moment that would have probably derailed his entire season, his mental setup. And don't forget to like the video, guys. Appreciate it. And for him to come and just run at UST, make the team, this is not a season to really fully benchmark, right? And if he comes out clear at the end and everything works out for him in terms of he doesn't lose an appeal at CAS then he gets a full season to attack a world championships next year. If he's not on the podium next year again, then serious questions. Or if he's off the podium, then the times need to be outrageous. We need to see guys running 19.3s or 4s, and maybe a 19.5 doesn't make the podium. Then we can reevaluate and say, well, maybe he can stick around. But if not, he has to go. I agree with that. Brian says no one running currently can challenge both 100 or 200 meter world records. I agree on 100 for sure. I just don't think we'll see that go in our lifetime. Obviously, could be wrong. I don't see anybody capable of getting up to the both 100 meter world record. The 200 meter world record is still something that I have a hard time seeing going as well, if I'm being honest with you. But it's the soft of the two records, if we can ever call a boat world record soft. That's not even the word. I suspect that someone, if the conditions are right, on a nice night on the Diamond League, could do something really spectacular. I could see, the same way we saw Rohan Blake do the 1926 on a one-off race. It's a possibility. What I'm not seeing, and I can't see, is athletes going through rounds and then popping up and coming close to that record. It's just not happening. I can't see it right now. I think if you're an athlete like, let's see, Tebogo or Noah Lyles, whoever you are, maybe those are the only two we can think of. Looking at the world record is not something you should do. You should just... And certainly I don't think Lyles is capable of running much faster than what he did in... Where was it? In Eugene, if he continues to double. If Noah Lyles continues to double all the way till LA, if he can sustain that long, he will not be running any times close to... He's not going to run better than a 1931. I just can't see it. I would say that Noah probably needs a break from one of these events and then try to come back again, because he's been running for a long time as well. So I don't know. But yeah, truthfully, I can't see the records going. For sure not the 100 and the 200. No, we could make a case for Letsili, given his ability, given the need the youth rather, given that maybe with improvements he could do something really fast, but he's not fast enough. So I don't know where he's going to buy that speed. That's the thing. Can you see? Can you see? Let's see, you're running a 9.7 or a nine. Can you see that like a 9.75? I don't know. If he can do that, maybe we can have a different conversation. But you need some fair amount of speed. Chris, my man, how are you doing? How's it going there in Australia? 9:30 there in Australia. Hopefully you're doing well. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't Gabby running 200? I don't think she is. Isn't she done for the season? If I'm not mistaken, I could look at it. For the 200 meters, I don't think she is. Let's see. The start list for the 200 meters doesn't have Gabby there. No, she's not running. Where are we right now? Chris, the Ben running is technical. My coach was physics PhD. He used tangents and vectors to teach running with feet always angled and being close to the lane line. Yeah, it is. Some attack the line, some go in the middle. It's interesting. It is a technical stuff. I think Letsili can do it. I like what I'm seeing from Letsili since the Olympic Games. He's doing a different vibe. He's running a lot. He's been on the Diamond League circuit, off the Diamond League circuit, running in meets that he probably don't need to run into, but I don't know what his pocket looks like. So he's been running a lot. And he's also coming with a different kind of a personality. So he's growing up in the sport really fast, which is good to see, especially in a year when, he lost his mother, which is hard by any imagination. So to go there, it's interesting. Yeah. All in the game says was confirmed no world championship buys are being handed out this year to the winners as the Diamond League finalists before the Tokyo World Championships in next year. Next year's Diamond League final winners are getting the buys, the World Championship buys instead. Ooh, interesting. I didn't realize that. Ah, I thought it was handed. Okay, interesting. Really? Yeah, because Tokyo is in mid September next year. I want it like September 10th or something like that, right? Oh, I didn't know. Thanks for telling me that all in game. I didn't. I thought it was. Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah. So then the guys on NBC were saying nonsense then today, right? Chris is saying, yeah, I saw that T20. I've been watching some cricket. I just haven't gotten a chance to talk much about it. Brian is saying, well, Michael Johnson run is 1932. Most thought that would be the record for the lifetime. Both broke it with maximum effort in back-to-back years and never been close since. Wouldn't call it softer. I agree. Yeah, I didn't. Oh, okay, I see what I'm saying. Here's a better framing of it. I think when you look at the crop of athletes that are available, if they wanted to target a boat record, then they would probably look at the 200 and not the 100. Maybe that's a better way of thinking of it. If they had aspirations, I just don't think anyone is anywhere capable of running the 100 meter. This is not happening. 9.5 isn't happening. I'm sorry, I can't see it, and we just have to live with that for a long period of time. Yeah, and I just don't see the 1919 either. It's not happening. I suspect people can. I don't even know if you can do the 1926. I'm just saying it's tough. It is tough to do, and Noah had to run everything he had in Budapest, not in Budapest, in Eugene, to break the Michael Johnson record. And we all know how Eugene is a great place to run great times. Yeah, it's tough. Nevada says Tebogo has a, where am I? Tebogo has to have a 19.65 100 PB to challenge the boat 200-meter record. Yeah, unless he's gonna run like 43 4, then we can say, well, okay, maybe there's something there, but I don't think so. Yeah. 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 So yeah, the All in the Game says, yeah, the NBC guys got it wrong. They've since tweeted out correction. Okay, that's good to know. Because I never checked, and I was like, okay, maybe it's the bye, but then I was like, it's in the World Championships late, but you're right. World Championships very late next year, so there's no bye. So let's see. All this talk of winning at this thing is just for naught now. Wayne, what's up? I'm a Jamaican and still don't see anyone running 1990. Yeah, there's nobody. Yeah, it's hard to get up to those times. I think we we look at the times and it looks interesting. Not you and me or people on the live, but in general, the thing is, athletes have to look at aspirational targets, right? So you got to put the bolt time up. If you don't put the bolt time up, then something's wrong with you, right? You have to look at the big man and say, that's what I want to do. And obviously, the raw records are just only a snippet of what the career of the guy was anyway, right? It's the most impactful type of thing on the sport in terms of just the dominance and the ability to do it from on that side of things, and then to transcend the sport. And the truth is, if you ask most regular people who don't follow the sport of track and field, they don't know anybody. They still only know his name, which is a bad thing, which is another thing with world athletics there. But yeah, it's those records aren't going. Let's get on to a few more things. I really appreciate everybody on the live. Obviously, we'll be back tomorrow as well. I was thinking of doing a watch along of tomorrow just in case. But yeah, what about the men's 100 meters? Since we just finally wrap up the 100 meters for the women. Interesting run there from Ackeem Blake from Jamaica, right? He's been having interesting season, winning that 1993 there, looking really good. Again, not the great conditions there in Zurich, not Zurich, in Brussels rather. Ahead of Kristen Coleman, ahead of Fred Curley, Diamond League winner there. There's good talented athletes in the mix. Simbini was there, Sonny Brown, SME as well. Good running from Blake. I just hope that Ackeem can deliver, right? I'm really thinking that he should be getting into finals. That should be his next step to make sure he's making these major championships finals. It's not easy to make a major championship final. We've seen it. He's much interesting in terms of where he is. I'll get to some of these comments, but I'll go with Brian's first since we're on 100 meters. Rohan Watson. Yeah, that's an interesting thing there, Brian. What was it? Watson was Jamaica champion when? Was it last year or the year before? When was it? I'm trying to. Yeah, it was last year, right? And yeah, he hasn't shown any type of top class running for a while. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe is struggling with stuff that we don't know about. I have no details on it. If other people know, then they can share. Yeah. Chris is saying I'm so old. It's still fascinating. It's still be fascinated at 10, 20, what 10 slash times in 1972 sprints are no. Now we talk 19 and 9. Yeah, 9 and 90. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, the sport has changed. I mean, obviously the surfaces changed, the training changed. In the obviously we went to synthetic surfaces when in 68. But those surfaces in 68 compared to a surface today is like running on a bouncy thing, versus something that's really giving a much more energy return. And yeah, a lot more change. The track and field was still largely amateur all of that period as well. It's not anymore. Probably not as professionalized as you want in terms of the financial rewards and so on. So it's hard to look at that, right? And make the kind of comparison. So you'd like to say, if you took Jesse Owens from 1930s, or you went to the 400-meter guys of 48 or 52, those great Jamaican teams, if you took those guys today and gave them everything that the current guys have, who knows what you would see, right? So yeah, but I know what you're saying. Where is it? All in the Game says Ackeem a solid 9.8, low 9.9 guy, but others have higher ceiling. That's true. There's a point where he probably can get to anything better than that. He probably can run a PB of a 1986, or if he gets a 1982, he may not even medal, right? Like, look at what happened to people like Simbini and all of that stuff, right? It's an interesting space. I would hope that he can make a final. I think he's a guy that runs the circuit a lot, and is good. The real question is what is Oblique Seville. He's the guy that has a high ceiling in terms of ability to run fast times. I mean, we've seen it. Question is, what do we do when we try to rank who will win next year, right? Like, where are we putting the medals, right? I mean, clearly he's popping up with injuries at the most inconvenient times, if we think about it that way. So Seville is something there. Thompson, he has a very high ceiling if he stays injury free. Really, really high. Probably the highest of all the athletes we've seen around right now. Yeah, he's getting a little bit there for sure. The way in which I saw this run this year from like the likes of a Rohan Watson, I would equate it to the inconsistencies that we've seen with, what's the 400-meter guy from Jamaica? Is McDonald, yeah, or Sheen. Like, maybe it's a similar season. I'm not saying it will last for the rest of the time that way, but yeah, he's not having the greatest of season. Brian is saying, thought Watson was only Kishane Thompson's whipping boy, but he's getting out of hand from the circuit too. Another one who needs to go back to the drawing board. Yeah. Hopefully he has a better season next year. He had some issues, so hopefully, but he's still running a lot, which he's getting into meets, So yeah. All in the Game, Hicklin and Coleman just moved to Dennis Mitchell. Yeah, I saw that. We'll be interested to see how that works out. Good question on that. Mitchell is building up really a big contingent of athletes. How does he manage all of that stuff? Obviously, he has the biggest star in the game in the sense of notoriety or appeal, or outside of the sport appeal, in Sha'carri Richardson. I don't know. Very interesting to see. Always, yeah, I don't know what to think about Dennis. He's a good coach. Let me just leave it that way. I'm always skeptical of when people breach the integrity of the sport, but we can't keep people at that place all the time. So let me not go down that road. Nevada saying the month of September is usually cold in Northern Europe to have track meets. I wish they would consider moving the Diamond League final to Southern Europe. I mean, it changes. Last year, the Diamond League final was here in the United States in Oregon, which fall temperatures. It could get chilly depending on when it was, or it could be super hot. Mm, I hear what you're saying. The last couple of races in Zurich here and now hasn't been the best, but it is what it is. Yeah. But I do understand what you're saying. All in the game need to see a 4x1 of Akeem Kishane level oblique actually run together next year. That's what we want to see. Uh, Hopefully Brian Level can make the step up again. I like what we saw this year from him, getting that, going sub 10, sub 21, sub 22 rather. 20, not 22. And talent there. If he can put his head down, maybe something special. But this 4x1 Jamaica team has the capability to do something really well. I think if Oblique Civil can get to his top shape and Kishane Thompson's there and Akeem gives you that kind of constant 9-8 type space, you get a 9-9, 9-9 from a level. If he can consistently run in those territory, this team should be winning titles, or definitely competing to winning titles. But we'll see. Brian says, would love Alana Reid to go to Coach Flo and get away from Mitchell. Alana Reid, interesting. I did a video which we didn't put out on Alana Reid. For some reason, forgot about it, and we just never did. After she won that World U20 title. Alana Reid, really special athlete. Would love. I don't know if can Flo manage any more athletes. Would it be a space she wants to be in? I mean, Alana Reid with Bobby Kersey would be interesting though, or a John Smith. Yeah, we'll see what we get from a Brianna Williams next year with John Smith. Full season with him should be intriguing. I like Alana Reid. I think lots of talent. I think she has a killer instinct too, to leave high school early to do what she's doing. Look good in Lima, Peru, in cold conditions. The thing about Alana Reid that I don't know about, and it's just my observation, not trying to reading anything. I don't like the hip placement. I mean, you can't change your hip, but there's something about not having the lift. So, yeah, there's some awkwardness in the running. Could be like, seems like a mechanical issue. There's something to work on there. She doesn't have any lift, but certainly talented sprinter. I don't know what Reed's ceiling is. I guess I'm trying to go sideways to think about like how fast she can go. Is Alana Reid a 10-7 athlete, 10-6 athlete? That I don't know the answer to. I would hope, but maybe she has to. Maybe shifting coaches might be a thing, but I don't know. Chris, true story. I met Jim Hines in Australia at a professional event in 1972 and asked him why he didn't run 200 in Mexico. He laughed and said he couldn't run curves. Jim Hines, one of the greatest, lost him some years ago to, yeah, special dude there, man. Special dude. Two sport guy. All in the game. There has to be a limit when it comes to the amount of athletes a coach can adequately handle, no matter how good they are as a coach. No, that is true. And especially if there's the best kind of way is that if they work the same program, like if they do a lot of stuff, then then it's easier, right? Then you could do some stuff. But if they want one-on-one attention, which I suspect some of them might want, then you have to limit the time, right? Yeah. And to me, how to go to Coach Flo might be a mistake. I mean, just he has too many athletes. Then he still has, doesn't he still have all those collegiate athletes? So that is not easy to do. Yeah. Yeah, it would probably a Nike coach, so John Smith would work. Yeah. Yeah. Dina and Rashidat are Nike athletes are with Coach Flo. Yeah, you don't have to. I think there's nothing like that. I think they would prefer that, but I think you can. I suspect it depends. It depends on where you are. Yeah, I think it's actually depends on if the coach signs like if they're in a 360 with the with the shoe company, and I don't think Coach Flo could be. Texas a Nike school, right? Is it? Let me see. Uh, I mean, speaking about that, Texas looking good in football, in American football, if you follow that. But is Austin? And I think there should be a Nike school, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. Yeah, they are a Nike school. So, yeah. Thanks, all in the game. All in game news is like before I even have to search. Yeah, yeah. So that's where we are. Where are we? Always an hour into this, and we haven't even touched on a bunch of these disciplines, but it's all good. Interesting stuff. Long jump was interesting. Tajay Gale winning it in what was it? Why am I doing this? I'm running by myself, so I don't know. 8:28. I really hate to see the long jump in this last few years. I mean, no disrespect, but like 8:28 is interesting, right? Like all these guys, Tentaglu probably is tired, and maybe all of these guys are pretty tired, to be honest with you. So I can't be really complaining. But you would anticipate that a Diamond League final we should be getting like a 8:50, but we'll have to see how these things go. But Tajay Gale winning that today, uh, nothing to really complain about. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened today. I'm not gonna stay much longer for sure. Tomorrow should be great. Sasha Zoya, we can talk about him a little bit too. I thought that Zoya is one of those interesting athletes that, for a long period of time. Before I get to him, let me just get to all in the game here. Long jump has ended in a bout of donut uh to Europe Championships with 10 Toglu jumping 865. I agree with you. Yeah. I think we haven't seen the big jumps. I don't think we'll maybe one or two athletes might pop up on the big jumps, but consistently the big jumps they're just not there. And I would hope, I would hope it will come back. By the way, all in the game or anybody, I have a video coming out. We just haven't edited yet. But did you guys see the the test lab from uh World Athletics? I finally saw the takeoff zone in real life. Well, not person, but I watched it. I wasn't there. The for a while we wanted to see what this takeoff zone thing would be. It's interesting. I actually don't really know if it makes much of a difference. But I think the first jump in the takeoff zone thing, the guy fouled actually, went above the takeoff zone area, which is interesting. But yeah, I saw them testing that. I saw them test the mile steeplechase, which I'm in a big favor of. I like that. And they also did the height clearance. They showed the height clearance stuff in pole vault. I don't know if I like that. I need more time on that. Yeah. Uh, Hope MS. Oh, Matthew Hudson Smith. Yeah, that was bad today. It's okay, but well done, Charlie Dobson, for capping off a very good 400 debut season with a Diamond League final uh, plus what's that 10 sub 10 45 times 44 to 44 9 and a 43 split to help GB win bronze in the Olympic Games. Yeah, Dobson is interesting. He ran really well, really fast at the end there. I didn't just late surge coming in. I at one point thought Karani would have won it, and yeah, interesting. Didn't get an update on what happened to Hudson Smith. Did he pull something? What do we know what went wrong with Hudson Smith? It's not good to see. He's an injury-prone guy. Uh, hopefully, it's nothing too serious that will delay his start of the season next year. And then did the smart thing in moving up from the 200, with too many people refused to do, and stay in the short sprints going nowhere. Yeah, Charlie Dobson, interesting kid. Yeah, really interesting kid. We'll see how much better he can get, but interesting space there. Yeah. All in the game says look like cramp, which is the best outcome for him. Hopefully it's a cramp. Hopefully it's not a hamstring tear or anything like that. I suspect he'll be shutting down the season now. Most athletes are. Get a few months rest, then he starts to switch indoors again. I mean, good 2 years for Hudson Smith. Unfortunately, twice about to win the gold medals, got pipped by Antonio Watson, and then Quincy Hall this year just came from nowhere and did that as well. Interesting. But Hudson Smith, when fit, should do some stuff. Really great timing from him running those big sub 44 times. So we'll see. Inga Britson winning today as well. Didn't look that he was challenged that much. Mary Moore also running a season best in the 800 meters as well. So some good running happening today. Sasha Joya, that kid, I lots of time. So we'll see what we'll get. I'll just wrap up with a few more things. If you can run 44.2 in your first year in 400 like Dobson did and splitting 43s, I suspect he can dip under 44 next season. I think he should be able to do it if he stays healthy. How old is he now? But I like him. I think he was instrumental in that leg too for Team GB. And GB doing really well in terms of some of the athletes that they have there. So yeah, Valerie Alman also winning today. Good stuff. Sarah Mitten also winning in the shot put there. Chase Ely around there as well. So some good things happening today. He turns 25 in a few weeks, all in the game. Yeah, cool. So guys, I won't stay much longer. I gotta run. But I'll be back tomorrow. I'm thinking about doing a watch along as day 2 of the Diamond League final ends up. And so I'll be probably online watching it. So if you want to come on and chat while you watch it. If I don't get to do a watch along, we'll do a recap. But it's been a pleasure. As usual, I appreciate all of you on the channel. And I'll see you later on. Take care. Bye-bye.